I was in Australia with my son for the Coherence Healing. He's 10 years old. And just to describe him a little bit, he was very, very, very anxious boy. So if he's in the playground, if there is one child who is crying, he would pull me to that child, want me to carry that child, and he would forget everything, and he would get so anxious that we have to go back home. He was diagnosed with autism when he was around 18 months. It was not a formal diagnosis because he was still under 2 years, but I had a fair idea that something is going wrong with him. If there is any sound, a drill noise, he would just he could not focus on anything whatsoever. And I mean, it was like difficult for him to concentrate on anything. And in this Coherence Healing, 3 days of healings, after 2 days of the closing of the event, we went back from Australia to Singapore. It was a flight from Sydney to Singapore. And just behind us was a little infant. The very moment I saw the infant, I'm like, oh, shit. And you know, all these years I have only heard one thing: healing takes time. So I couldn't have even expected that somebody would have changed, something would have changed in those 3 days.
Hold it a little closer.
But what happened? He asked me, why's the baby crying? I said, the baby is crying because the ears are popping, you see, but the mom is there to take care. You don't have to worry. And you know, after that, for 8 hours, my boy did not bother about the baby. Yeah. He was totally normal, that mom is there to take care, he doesn't have to bother. And I took some time to actually believe in it, that you know, he's finished his anxiety. And Singapore has continental weather. There are like huge storms and thunders, like even adults would shake, that kind of storms and thunders we have. And he wouldn't even go to toilet if there was a thunder that loud. And like 3 consecutive days I noticed him, when there was a thunder, he's not bothered. He's not bothered. And one day he's playing with his puzzle. He's making his Peppa Pig puzzle, and then there's a loud thunder, and I'm like, we all shake. And I'm looking around for him always, that he's not alone. And he says, it's okay, I'm fine, I'm safe. He is not scared of thunder since that day. And that was huge. That was huge. I mean, ask me, I couldn't send him in any public transport because of that. I couldn't send him alone anywhere. I mean, he was always with me, because in Singapore, when it rains, we don't know. We don't know when there will be a thunder, when there will be a lightning. We just don't know. Yeah. And I mean, I have been doing all the speech therapies, occupational therapies, but nothing has worked for his anxiety. For his anxiety, nothing has worked. And I mean, they are taught safety rules in the schools, like you have to be careful about the fire, you have to be careful with on the road, you have to be careful. So he somehow developed the habit of thinking of the worst case scenarios. So he would come home and tell, Mom, if I'm not careful on the road, will I fall down? Yes, you have to be careful on the road. And what happens then? I will have a wound? Probably. And then there will be blood, and then there will be pain. I'm like, but we don't do that, you know, we just have to be careful. Okay, so the other day he learns about the fire brigade and all those stuff, fire stations. So he comes home and he's standing in the kitchen. Mama, how about this fire? Yeah, we're cooking, that's okay, we just have to be careful. If I'm not careful, what happens? And he's always imagining, and I was like, this was a big concern to me, that when he grows big, he would be so scared to come on the road. Like, I mean, who knows what kind of anxiety is he developing? And would you believe, like, it's really, till date, it is difficult for me to believe, after those coherence healings, I have not heard even a single time his worst case scenarios. Not even once. He's a very, very, very loving soul. He's a very, very beautiful child. And in the cage, I was there with him, and I tell you, I don't know, he was getting the healing or I was getting the healing, but in the cage, he was taking care of me. He was the one who was putting his arm, and I was lying on his shoulder. because he could sense me. The very first healing, I broke down. I was crying like a little baby, and it was like something which was negative was breaking inside me, so that I can have all the hope on this planet for my son, and I can move forward. And yeah, that was the biggest moment for my life, in my life, where I was just crying like a little baby, and I was taken care of by the staff. My son was taken care of by the staff because I was not able to handle myself. But that was a memorable moment when I could let go of all the no energy which was given to me by all the therapists. Your son cannot do this, your son cannot do this. Like all those no moments, I could just release in no time. And during that healing, I don't know what went with me. I heard a loud noise, liberate him. Liberate him. He doesn't even belong to you. Why are you holding on to him? Treat him like a normal child. And you can't even imagine what kind of transformation it brought to me. So when I went back home, Singapore morning, one of the mornings, we are traveling by bus, and he asks me, Mom, when can I go alone to the school? And I tell him, you want to go alone to the school? He says, yes. I said, okay, next stop I get down and you go alone. And he's like scared. He's like, Mom, why are you angry? I'm not angry. Seriously, I'm not angry. You go alone. I'm sure you would be able to do it. It's just that I'm trusting you more. And he sits and he goes. He reaches the school, and I'm standing at the same bus stop. I did not move in the anticipation that if he's not able to reach, like a part of me is scared, but he reached. I received the call from the school that he's reached safely and everything. And then I call my husband. I tell him, he's reached the school alone. 5 times, trust me, 5 times he asked, what? He's gone to school alone? What? Really? Seriously? And we did a video call, and both of us just had tears in our eyes. We just couldn't believe that he could manage by himself. And now he goes to his classes by himself. Like, I don't have to tell him. He goes by himself. So, and I truly believe that it was a part of me which healed, a big part of me which healed, that I could liberate him, I could send him, I could trust the divine, I could trust in the possibility. That was the biggest thing. Like, I did not have any hope from any practitioners whatsoever. Like, I don't even want to name, but they always said me, your child cannot do this, cannot do this, cannot do this. And my heart was always like, probably I have to take care of him for my life. But now, no. He is becoming so much more independent. He can go to a grocery store by himself. He can buy stuff for himself. It's amazing. And just one last thing I would share is, like, while the coherence healings were there, I was not even in the intention. Like, I was not even putting my intention on my healing. So I had a C-section when he was born, and he's 10 years now. And 2 of the stitches broke, and they could never heal. They would ooze out, smelly fluid, everything. Like, I was just living with it, because the doctor said it's not possible to heal, the skin is thin and whatsoever. And when I go back from Australia to Singapore, I look in myself in the mirror, and there is a scab. Trust me, now there is no wound, no scar.
Wait. You had it for 10 years,
yeah,
and it never healed for 10 years.
Yes.
Everything, all the medicines, all the stuff.
Yes.
And then as soon as you got home, there was a scab, and it healed.
Yes. Yes, and honestly, I couldn't believe it was a scab. Like, how could it be? And it was like me and my husband. And, it brings you so much belief when it happens to you. So I don't know if it was, who was healing? Was it he, or was it me? Or we both? I don't know. But I had that part of my heart that said, healings take time. No, they really don't. Just in 2 days, my son could get rid of that anxiety. And now I don't believe, when I go to the practitioners, his OT, and they say, your child cannot do things. Okay, fine, up to you. I mean, they still don't believe, because they don't know it, that miracles are there happening for all of us. So trust, and This is just one small message to all the mothers here. Heal yourself. Your children can read you. Your children can feel you, and they heal with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.